Bible in a Year, the Message Version, February 1st, or Day 32. Exodus chapter 13, verse 17 through chapter 15, verse 18. It so happened that after Pharaoh released the people, God didn't lead them by the road through the land of the Philistines, which was the shortest route. For God thought, if the people encounter war, they'll change their minds and go back to Egypt. So God led the people into the wilderness road, looping them around to the Red Sea. The Israelites left Egypt in military formation. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for Joseph had made the Israelites solemnly swear to do it, saying, God will surely hold you accountable, so make sure you bring my bones from here with you. They moved on from Succoth to then camp at Etham, at the edge of the wilderness. So God went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud during the day to guide them on the way, and at night in a pillar of fire to give them light. Thus they could travel both day and night. The pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night never left the people. God spoke to Moses, tell the Israelites to turn around and make camp at Pi Hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea. Camp on the shore of the sea opposite Baal Zephron. Pharaoh will think the Israelites are lost. They're confused. The wilderness has closed in on them. Then I'll make Pharaoh's heart stubborn again, and he'll chase after them. And I'll use Pharaoh and his army to put my glory on display. Then the Egyptians will realize that I am God. And that's what happened. When the king of Egypt was told that the people were gone, he and his servants changed their mind. They said, what have we done, letting Israel, our slave labor, go free? So he had his chariots harnessed up and he got his army together. He took 600 of his best chariots with the rest of the Egyptian chariots and their drivers come along. God made Pharaoh, king of Egypt, stubborn, determined to chase the Israelites as they walked out on him without even looking back. The Egyptians gave chase and caught up with them where they had made camp by the sea. All Pharaoh's horse-drawn chariots and their riders, all his foot soldiers there at Pi Hahiroth, opposite Baal Zephron. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up and saw them, Egyptians, coming at them. They were totally afraid. They cried out in terror to God. They told Moses, weren't the cemeteries large enough in Egypt so that you had to take us out here in the wilderness to die? What have you done to us, taking us out of Egypt? Back in Egypt, didn't we tell you this would happen? Didn't we tell you? Leave us alone here in Egypt. We're better off as slaves in Egypt than as corpses in the wilderness. Moses spoke to the people. Don't be afraid. Stand firm and watch God do the work of salvation for you today. Take a good look at the Egyptians today, for you're never going to see them again. God will fight the battle for you, and you keep your mouth shut. God said to Moses, why cry out to me? Speak to the Israelites. Order them to get moving. Hold your staff high and stretch your hand out over the sea. Split the sea. The Israelites will walk through the sea on dry land. Meanwhile, I'll make sure the Egyptians keep up their stubborn chase. I'll use Pharaoh and his entire army, his chariots and horsemen, to put my glory on display so that the Egyptians will realize that I am God. The angel of God had been leading the camp of Israel, now shifted and got behind them, and the pillar of cloud that had been in front also shifted to the rear. The cloud was now between the camp of Egypt and the camp of Israel. The cloud enshrouded one camp in darkness and flooded the other with light. The two camps didn't come near each other all night. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and God, with a terrific east wind all night long, made the sea go back. He made the sea dry ground, and the sea water split. The Israelites walked through the sea on dry ground with the waters a wall to the right and a wall to the left. The Egyptians came after them in full pursuit, every horse and chariot and driver of Pharaoh racing into the middle of the sea. It was now the morning watch. God looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud on the Egyptian army and threw them into panic. He clogged the wheels of the chariots. They were stuck in the mud. The Egyptians said, "Run from Israel! God is fighting on their side and against Egypt." God said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, and the waters will come back over the Egyptians, over their chariots, over their horsemen." Moses stretched his hand out over the sea. As the day broke and the Egyptians were running, the sea returned to its place as before. God dumped the Egyptians in the middle of the sea. The waters returned, drowning the chariots and the riders of Pharaoh's army that had chased after Israel into the sea. Not one of them had survived. Then Moses and the Israelites sang this song to God, giving voice together. I'm singing my heart out to God. What a victory! He pitched horse and rider into the sea. God is my strength. God is my song. And yes, God is my salvation. This is the kind of God I have, and I'm telling the world, this is the God of my Father. I'm spreading the news far and wide. God is a fighter, pure God, through and through. Pharaoh's chariots and army he dumped into the sea. The elite of his officers he drowned in the Red Sea. Wild ocean waters poured over them. They sank like a rock in the deep blue sea. Your strong right hand, God, shimmers with power. Your strong right hand shatters the enemy. In your mighty majesty, you smash your upstart enemies. You let loose your hot anger and burn them to a crisp. At a blast from your nostrils, the waters piled up. Tumbling streams dampened up. Wild oceans curled into a swamp. The enemy spoke. I'll pursue. I'll hunt them down. I'll divide up the plunder. I'll gut myself on them. I'll pull out my sword. My fist will send them reeling. You blew with all your might, and the sea covered them. They sank like a lead weight in the majestic waters. Who compares with you among gods, O God? Who compares with you in power, in holy majesty, in awesome praise, wonder-working God? You stretched out your right hand, and the earth swallowed them up. But the people you redeemed, you led in merciful love. You guided them under your protection to your holy pasture. And when people heard, they were scared. Philistines writhed and trembled. Yes, even the head men in Edom were shaken. And the big bosses in Moab, everyone in Canaan, panicked and fell faint. Dread and terror sent them reeling. Before your brand shield right arm, they were struck dumb like a stone. Until your people crossed over and entered, O God. Until the people you made crossed over and entered, you brought them and planted them on the mountain of your heritage. The place where you live, the place you made your sanctuary, Master, that you established with your own hands. Let God rule forever, for eternity. Matthew chapter 21, verse 23 through verse 46. Then he, Jesus, was back in the temple teaching. The high priests and leaders of the people came up and demanded, "Show us your credentials. Who authorized you to teach here?" Jesus responded, "First, let me ask you a question. You answer my question, and I'll answer yours. About the baptism of John, who authorized it, heaven or humans?" They were on the spot and knew it. They pulled back into a huddle and whispered, "If we say heaven, he'll ask us why we didn't believe him. If we say humans, we're up against it with the people because they all hold John up as a prophet." They decided to concede that round to Jesus. "We don't know," they answered. Jesus said, "Then neither will I answer your question." Tell me what you think of this story. A man had 2 sons. He went up to the first and said, "Son, go out for the day and work in the vineyard." The son answered, "I don't want to." Later on, he thought better of it and he went. The father gave the same command to the second son, and he answered, "Sure, glad to." But he never went. Which of the 2 sons did what the father asked? They said, "The first." Jesus said, "Yes. And I tell you that crooks and whores are going to precede you into God's kingdom. John came to show the right road. You turned up your noses at him, but the crooks and whores believed him. Even when you saw their changed lives, you didn't care enough to change and believe him." Here's another story. Listen closely. There was once a man, a wealthy farmer, who planted a vineyard. He fenced it in, dug a wine press, put up a watchtower, and then turned it over to the farmhands and went off on a trip. When it was time to harvest the grapes, he sent his servants back to collect his profits. The farmhands grabbed the first servant and beat him up. The next one they murdered. They threw stones at the third, but he got away. The owner tried again, sending more servants. They got the same treatment. The owner was at the end of his rope. He decided to send his son. Surely, he thought, they will respect my son. But when the farm hands saw the son arrive, they rubbed their hands in greed. This is their heir. Let's kill him and have it all for ourselves. They grabbed him, threw him out, and killed him. Now, when the owner of the vineyard arrives home from his trip, what do you think he will do to the farm hands? He'll kill them, a rotten bunch. A good riddance, they answered. Then he assigned the vineyard to the farmhands, who will hand over the profits when it's time. Jesus said, "Right," and you can read it for yourselves in the Bibles. The stone the mason threw out is now the cornerstone. This is God's work. We rub our eyes. We can hardly believe it. This is the way it is with you. God's kingdom will be taken back from you and handed over to the people who will live out a kingdom life. Whoever stumbles on this stone gets shattered. Whoever the stone falls on gets smashed. When the religious leaders heard this story, they knew it was aimed at them. They wanted to arrest Jesus and put him in jail, but intimidated by public opinion, they held back. Most people held him to be a prophet of God. Psalm chapter 26, verse 1 through verse 12, a David psalm. Clear my name, God. I've kept an honest shop. I've thrown in my lot with you, God, and I'm not budging. Examine me, God, from head to foot. Order your battery of tests. Make sure I'm fit inside and out, so I never lose sight of your love, but keep in step with you. Never miss a beat. I don't hang out with tricksters. I don't pal around with thugs. I hate that pack of gangsters. I don't deal with double dealers. I scrub my hands with purest soap, then join hands with the others in the great circle, dancing around your altar, God, singing God's songs at the top of my lungs, telling God's stories. God, I love living with you. Your house glows with your glory. When it's time for spring cleaning, don't sweep me out with the quacks and crooks, men with bags of dirty tricks, women with purses stuffed with bribe money. You know I've been above board with you. Now be above board with me. I'm on the level with you, God. I bless you every chance I get. Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16 through verse 19. Here are 6 things God hates, and one more he loathes with a passion: eyes that are arrogant, a tongue that lies, hands that murder the innocent, a heart that hatches evil plots, feet that race down a wicked track, a mouth that lies under oath, a troublemaker in the family. This was a daily reading of the Message version of the Bible, read to you by Bible in a Year.